అన్ని చేస్తానని అప్పీల్ చేస్తున్నా. ఇక్కడే ఉంటా, కంట్రోల్ రూమ్ ని యాక్టివేట్ చేస్తున్నా. ఎంతవరకు చేయగలుగుతామో అన్ని చేసి అందరిని ఆదుకుంటాం. 110 పైన బోట్లు పనిచేస్తున్నాయి. అదే మాదిరిగా 4-6 హెలికాప్టర్లు వస్తున్నాయి.
26 NDRF teams have been deployed for flood relief operations in both Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. 12 teams are already on the ground with 14 more on the way. The heavy rains have disrupted road and rail traffic with 99 trains which have been cancelled, 4 partially cancelled and 54 which have been diverted due to water logging on the tracks. The centre is doing all it can to see that relief and rescue operations reach both Andhra Pradesh as well as Telangana. It is a time when both states need all the efforts and prayers to tide over the emergency. Before I go to the expert today, I am joined by my colleague Sheikh Noor Mohammed on the phone line, who is a senior correspondent of TV9 Telugu and is live from Hyderabad. And then I shall be joined by the expert on the show. शेख नूर मोहम्मद, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका कि आप हमारे साथ जुड़े. ये बताइए कि अब हैदराबाद में कैसी स्थिति है अभी बारिश की?
देखिए, दोनों राज्यों की सिचुएशन इंतहाई खराब है. आंध्र प्रदेश के तारीख में या तेलंगाना की तारीख में कई तरह की तूफाने हमने देखा है, मगर जिस तरह से आंध्र प्रदेश का जो सिचुएशन और तेलंगाना का खम्मम वाला जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट है, इसका सिचुएशन बहुत ही बुरा हाल है. देखिए, आंध्र प्रदेश में पिछले 2 दिन से जो लगातार जो बारिश हो रही है, उसका सीधा असर वहाँ के आम जनता पर, ट्रांसपोर्ट पर और रेलवे पर पड़ा है. यहाँ तक नौबत आ गई कि ऑलरेडी पहले से ही रेलवे ट्रैक जो थी दोनों राज्यों के दरमियान में, तेलंगाना और आंध्र प्रदेश के दरमियान में जो सीमाओं पर, दोनों राज्यों के सीमाओं पर ही रेलवे ट्रैक पूरी तरह टूट चुका है, पूरी तरह खराब हो चुका है. मगर जो आम जनता थी जिसका आना जाना था, वो ट्रैवल कर रहे थे बस और लारी के जरिए. देखिए, कल रात में वो जो सीमाएं पर जो बैरेज था, वो रोड सड़क भी पूरी तरह टूट चुकी है. वहाँ की आम जनता काफी परेशान है. जिस तरह से घरों में पानी आया था, शायद आंध्र प्रदेश की पहली बार इतनी बारिश और इतनी बाढ़ वहाँ पे देखा है. और जिस तरह के आंध्र प्रदेश के चीफ मिनिस्टर चंद्रबाबू नायडू लगातार आम जनता में है, जिस तरह की उनको राहत और उनकी जो जरूरत है वो लगातार उनको पहुंचा रहे हैं और केंद्र सरकार से भी लगातार बात कर रहे हैं. और सीएम भी बाकायदा आंध्र प्रदेश और तेलंगाना पर पूरी तरह नजर बनाए रखें. देखिए,
लगातार बात कर रहे हैं और
आंध्र
प्रदेश और तेलंगाना पर पूरी तरह नजर बनाए रखें. देखिए, आंध्र प्रदेश का हाल इंतहाई बुरा है, चाहे वो काकीनाडा हो, चाहे श्रीकाकुलम हो, चाहे विजयवाड़ा हो, चाहे कृष्णापट्टनम हो, इब्राहिमपट्टनम हो, आसपास के इलाके पूरी तरह तालाबों की तरह तब्दील हो चुका है. यूं देखा जाएगा, मैं ड्रोन शॉट में अगर मैं बताने की कोशिश करूं कि जिस तरह से जो विजयवाड़ा का जो सिचुएशन है, देखिए 80% पूरी आबादी समंदर के मानंद तब्दील हो चुकी है. और दूसरी तरफ तेलंगाना की अगर मैं बात करूं, तेलंगाना में कई इलाके और कई देहाती इलाके, कई विलेजेस ऐसे हैं जहां पे पूरी तरह सड़कें खराब हो चुकी है. दोनों राज्यों के मुख्यमंत्री लगातार आम जनता में है और जिस तरह से एनडीआरएफ की मदद भी ली जा रही है. जो लोग तालाबों में और घरों के छतों पर जो ठहरे हुए हैं, उनको एनडीआरएफ की टीम में हेलीकॉप्टर के जरिए रेस्क्यू कर रहा है. मगर सिचुएशन बहुत बुरा है. देखिए, कल से अभी तक 24 लोगों की मौत होने की खबर बाज़ाब्ता दोनों राज्यों ने बताया है और केंद्र की लगातार दोनों राज्यों के मुख्यमंत्रियों से बात हो रही है और केंद्र ने पूरी तरह फोकस आंध्र और तेलंगाना पर कर रखा है इस बाढ़ को लेकर.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका शेख नूर मोहम्मद. देयर यू हैव इट, सीनियर कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंट TV9 Telugu, joining us live and telling us that situation in both the Telugu speaking states is rather precarious right now. Also joining us, Deepak Reddy, national spokesperson for the Telugu Desam party, on our show live. Mr. Reddy, very, very terrible times, I must say. You have to tide over it, but of course mishaps come and go, natural disasters come and go. I just want to ask you that in 50 years, this is what the statistics are saying, this is the heaviest rainfall in Andhra Pradesh. Sir, we've done a lot of stories, whether it's in Karnataka, whether it's in Maharashtra, everywhere. The only the factor here is climate change. So I want to ask you, considering your party is something which does not look at things only from one prism. So if we look at it from the prism of, science, that what the reality is, did we know that this is the kind of rains that Andhra Pradesh is going to be witnessing? Deepak Reddy.
Very good evening, Sudha. Actually, it is quite shocking to see what is going on, because this kind of situation we haven't faced in probably this is a once in 100 time kind of situation. Yes. Krishna River actually has its presence in about 4 states, and this particular location of Vijayawada, it's almost at the tail end, close to the sea coast. So we are seeing the worst of the flooding here because it's almost at the tail end of the river.
Right.
And what is the biggest issue is the Met Department has given us warnings on 29th, and the government actually has swung into action from 29th, and they have given permission to the collectors to draw advance also, and preparatory mechanism was made.
Right.
But we didn't expect the thing to be so bad. And when our Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu ji went to the location yesterday, he was shocked to see the level of flooding, and he decided to stay right there without going home. And the press has reported him being part of the rescue mission till 3 a.m. in the morning. And he says, my presence is required here, and I want to comfort the people, and we want to work on war footing, is the wording what he said. All the ministers of the cabinet are also on the ground, and he's also instructed all the senior leaders of the party to be on the field. And several kitchens have been temporarily set up to feed the people who are actually submerged. And all actions have been taken. The central government also has been extremely helpful by sending the NDRF team and about 6 helicopters. So the government is doing everything on war footing to salvage the situation. And in certain areas where the situation is very bad, they got huge pumps and pumping the water, doing reverse pumping. So this is what is happening on the ground. This is the progress I would like to update.
All right, which is very, very good considering that you're really proactive as a government. But I want to ask you, because rains today as well as tomorrow, there is an alert that it could rain. Deepak Reddy, what are you planning to do so that these people will be evacuated? Because a lot of people have been evacuated. What is your plan going forward for people who are watching this show and from Andhra Pradesh? What is your message, Deepak Reddy?
Sudhaji, we have deployed about 110 boats, and there are a bunch of helicopters also there. Depending on the situation, people are getting evacuated, and several relief shelters have been set up and supported by kitchen. So the Chief Minister is on the ground. He hasn't left that. In fact, he got a temporary bus and he's sitting right there. So everything is being looked into, even to the finest detail. But the situation here is not just the floods upstream in the river. It is also made a little worse because of the depression in the Bay of Bengal. So it is a bad situation as far as the weather is concerned. But everything what is humanly possible is being done by the government of Andhra Pradesh under the supervision of our Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu ji.
Deepak Reddy, I also read in the papers about the depression in the Bay of Bengal. Like I said, I opened this conversation by saying that this has become a trend. When Wayanad landslides happened, again, it's the nature's fury. There is nothing you and I can do. But even in Wayanad, the question is about warning. Early warning systems. What did you say, Deepak Reddy? 29th, we were told 29th you swing into action. Why can't that 29th be 26th or the 27th of August is my question, Deepak Reddy.
An excellent question, Sudhaji. I mean, Chandrababu Naidu ji is not like any other politician or any other chief minister. As soon as this relief work is over, we are going to get into the basics of why and how such things can be avoided in the future, and an in-depth study is going to be conducted, and subsequently action would be taken accordingly, because this is where our capital Amravati is also.
Yes.
And of course, nothing has happened to that, but the old town of Vijayawada is affected. A detailed review would be conducted. Even if such kind of a situation comes in the future, how it would not affect the people, a study would be conducted, and accordingly action would be taken, for sure.
Before I let you go, Deepak Reddy, I want to ask you that you are actually a new state. Should we say you're writing the state's future all over again? How much is the loss due to these floods? I want it to come from you and not mouth some figures right now. Tough time for you because the state's exchequer are already running empty, isn't it right, Deepak Garu?
That is very much true. The exact details are not yet out, but most of the areas are submerged. So the estimates are yet to come. But now we are focusing on saving the people, the poor, the patients, how we can get them out, and how food can go to the people on regular basis, and medical aid go to them.
Right.
So I think shortly, in a day or two, we will be knowing about that also in detail. I would not like to quote something where the figures are not concrete yet.
All right. So I also want to ask you that both the Telugu-speaking states have been impacted. Now the thing is that all the rail and road, I know this, it's all broken between Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. What are you doing to help people across, in Telangana? After all, you were one at one time.
Yeah, actually, we are at the downstream, so we are facing the worst of the floods.
All right.
So I don't think there is a great lot we could do to something on the upstream. Yes, but whatever little support is required, definitely the government would be helping to those on the border who are much more closer to us than to the Telangana areas.
On that note, all the best to you, Deepak Reddy. I hope all of you stay safe, and this is true for both the Telugu-speaking states. After all, politics has to be set aside when all of us are facing nature's fury, whether it's Andhra or Telangana. All the best, people stay safe, and I'm sure your governments will take good care of you. Thank you very much. The next story, which is coming up on the South Indian, is Telugu actors call for release of a 2-year-old report on sexual harassment in the film industry. That is coming up after the break. Just don't miss this story.
Give to me, pass. We'll put new glasses in the windows and they keep breaking it. This is the fourth time you are playing football throughout the day. Will you win the world by playing football?
Yes, uncle. I will now conquer the world by playing football. Let's go to Germany.
World's largest football talent hunt, News 9 Indian Tigers and Tigresses. In association with DFB Pokal, Bundesliga, BVB and India Football Center. Train and play matches in Europe. Register now and fly to Germany. IndianTigersandTigresses.com.
This is News 9 Live, India's only digital exclusive live stream. For the early adopters, bringing you the news 24/7. For the smart audiences on the smartest TVs. News 9 Live. Stream now on your smart TVs.
Muktiwani Yoda was aide to Sheikh Mujib came to my show. I told him that the family of Sheikh Mujib is under captivity of the Pakistani forces. The first lady came with Sheikh Mujib and she embraced me and said, the God, the Allah has sent you to save us. Modi ji and the Hasina. During talk, she brought out this point again that Major Ashok Tara of Indian Army said me, my mother, my sister, my brother, we got independence on 17th December because of Ashok Tara.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
All right, that's our big story. Story number 2 on the South Indian Telugu actors demand release of the sexual harassment report. We have Samantha Ruth Prabhu there, right there in a red dress. In between is anchor turned actor Jhansi, and that is Anushka Shetty of the Bahubali fame. So let's know what the story is. You know, the Hema Committee report, which highlighted the sleaze in the Malayalam film industry, has now spread like a bushfire. In Tamil Nadu, actor Vishal, who heads up the artist association called Nadigar Mandram in Tamil Nadu, has mooted for the formation of a committee to address cases of sexual harassment which is faced by women, particularly junior artists in the industry. But today our focus is on the Telugu film industry, where leading women actors, producers and directors are pushing the Telangana government to release a 2-year-old report on sexual harassment in the industry. The Voice of Women, called WOW, a support group for women in the Telugu film industry, issued a statement drawing parallels to the Hema Committee's revelations of sexual exploitation in Malayalam cinema. The statement said, and I am quoting the statement here verbatim, "We welcome the Hema Committee report and applaud the persistent efforts of the WCC in Kerala, which has laid the path to this moment." Taking a cue from the WCC, the Voice of Women was created in 2019. We hereby urge the Telangana government to publish the submitted subcommittee report on sexual harassment, which can help frame government and industry policies to establish a safe working environment for women in the Telugu film industry. There is some history to it. After actor Sri Reddy made allegations in 2018, which led to her protesting outside the Telugu Film Chamber of Commerce, a study was conducted on the Telugu film industry and submitted to the Telangana government in June of 2022, but to no avail. What was worse was that Sri Reddy was not only called disparaging names, she was also shamed and banned by the Movie Artists Association. That's the price you pay. What was the reason for the government at the time, led by K. Chandrasekhar Rao, to not take any action? For instance, former Minister of Cinematography, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries, Talasani Srinivas Yadav, said that the report was very vague and did not have anything to work on. The inaction has invited criticism from several leading actors of the industry, like I said, Samantha Ruth Prabhu and Anushka Shetty, and it's time for a change in the Telugu film industry. We are joined by A. Sunita, who is the member subcommittee of sexual harassment and gender discrimination, Telugu film and television industries. A very, very warm welcome to you, Sunita. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. You know, the thing is, like I said, it's spreading like a bushfire, and I'm so happy. Time now for women like us to come and speak out. You know, first of all, Sri Reddy, a lot of others may not know who Sri Reddy is, but I remember the time when she was protesting in front of the institute. She stood there, people called her names, and eventually she was banned. Sunita, even before we start on what exactly took place, don't you think that is the kind of reaction you get if you're a woman and you speak against powerful people?
Sri Reddy's protest was one of the most courageous steps, one of the most courageous protests that can happen. When she protested, along with her, there was some support. There was definitely support in the Telugu public sphere. Actually, there was some poetry written about her, and all women's organizations, a whole lot of women's organizations actually stood with her. After Sri Reddy, there was many dialogue artists came out in support and actually poured out their stories. For a month or so, Telugu television was full of their stories of harassment, exploitation, extreme exploitation, torture, and in the name of commitment contracts, in the name of several other things. And this is in fact the context in which women's organizations intervened. I mean, in the sense that they actually filed a public interest litigation in the Telangana High Court in October 2018. And in response to, and one of our demands was that Telangana government constitute a high-level committee,
right,
to investigate, to actually inquire into.
Yeah, that's what I'm sorry to interject, Sunita, but you know, the report was finalized, as I'm reading in several reports, that the report was finalized and submitted in June of 2022 to the then Chief Secretary. What happened after that?
The report was submitted to the then Chief Secretary, so Mr. Somesh Kumar.
Yes.
In a meeting that had every member of the committee, including several police commissioners, women and child welfare commissioners, and several officers and all that, who were members of the committee. Actually, they were. So we after that we have made several attempts. We have actually written to the next chief secretary. We were called and we had written to the FDC chairperson. We have given the report to the current Minister of Women and Child Welfare. We have written recently, we have met the Women's Commission chairperson and appraised her of the situation. But the report, for some reason, is for no reason or for some reason, it has not been released.
So because one of the ministers, you know, in the KCR Garu government said that it's very vague. Do you accept that? What is vague? I want you to explain. What does he mean by vague?
That I think he should explain, because
Yeah.
a report which is a report which is based on probably he means that there are no names, no sexual harassment cases, no criminal cases that need to be filed, but we were inquiring into the ecosystem that encourages, that inculcates this kind of harassment and exploitation. And one of the mandates of the committee is to look at gender parity in the industry, in every craft, in every what happens behind the scenes. What are there enough women editors, enough cinematographers, enough writers, dialogue writers, dubbing artists, and what happens to what is the entry processes, what are the kinds of
Right.
systems that are there, payment systems, wage payment systems. We examined all of this, and this cannot be vague. And
Yeah.
recommendations also cannot be vague.
So, as I look at it, because see, Telugu film industry is one of the oldest. It used to be in Chennai, because that's where
Yes.
all the hubs were. I mean, one has grown up, talking about L.V. Prasad Garu and, Nageswar Garu and NTR, and this is old. They are like, this is film history for us. I'm
Yes.
saying the only thing which stands out for me, Sunita, is fear. Because I was speaking to 2 or 3 journalists, who were part of this committee and don't want to come out. They said, Sudha, it is only fear. Because a lot of people whom we went and said, will you speak about it? They said, actually, there is no exploitation. We are all very good. We are fine. So isn't it true? Look at it. Look at the, even the big families, the Akkineni, Dagubatti, all these big families. They don't have many women who are working in the film industry except for Lakshmi Manchu.
Absolutely, totally, absolutely.
Why?
Our committee also looked into broadcast television, and along with the film industry. And a lot of people are asking me what is the difference between WCC and here. That there are not enough women who can actually push this kind of a report out. If you remember, it was a small dialogue artist who led the struggle in Telugu film industry, unlike Kerala, unlike Malayalam film industry, because I don't think there are enough women. There are enough women in positions of power, enough women at who own studios, enough women who actually can move things, who are autonomous, who are powerful enough to actually even push this kind of an issue in the Telugu film industry.
And what a pity it is, my next story is about how the men get together and form this club of silence. I have not seen a single man from the Telugu film industry, whether it is, I am naming them, Nagarjuna, Ram Charan, and Junior NTR. Where are Rana Dagubatti? Where are all these people? Where is Venkatesh? Where are all these people? Where is Mahesh Babu? I want to ask all these men, because it's not about men or women. It's about protecting. After all, Mahesh Babu is married to an actress. A lot of them are married to an actress. I don't even, Nagarjuna Garu is married to Amala. I want to understand something. Why is it that this is such a club of silence that let's not talk about it, Sunita? Because the purse strings are in their hands. They are the big producers, because all the money is controlled by them.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I also want to point out that high-level committee itself has many big people of the industry. See, Kalyan Garu is member of the high-level committee. Tamareddy Bharadwaj Garu is part of the high-level committee. So I was expecting and I was hoping that after we have done all the work, it is they who should push because it is their own industry that actually requires certain kind of reform, certain kind of measures, certain kind of legal measures, certain kind of regulation. It cannot be run as a completely informal industry without any sort of regulation. The regulation which all industries are subjected to under Indian law is something that they should push, because it is for the betterment of their own industry.
I hear you.
Right?
Now, KCR Garu, we are seeing KCR Garu on our screens because it was his government. You have a new government and a new chief minister in Telangana, a young man called Revant Reddy. Any hopes from him? You think he will act?
We are hoping that because there are women ministers, because there are active ministers, unlike the previous government, that we would see this report would see the light of the day.
All right, and on that note, thank you very much, Sunita, for joining us on this very important issue, and all the best. And I hope the women take this fight further and there is some kind of a parity and less of an harassment in the industry. Thank you very much. And the next story which is coming up is extremely interesting. Superstar Rajinikanth professes ignorance on the Hema Committee report, says don't know anything about it. That's coming after the break.
Fast.
My God, isn't she your daughter?
Yes.
She's playing football. This is boys' game. Make her study. If she doesn't get a good job, she will get a good match. Will you win the world by playing football?
Yes, auntie. My daughter will win the world by playing football.
Let's go to Germany.
World's largest football talent hunt, News 9 Indian Tigers and Tigresses. In association with DFB Pokal, Bundesliga, BVB and India Football Center. Train and play matches in Europe. Register now and fly to Germany. IndianTigersandTigresses.com.
For the very first time in our investigation, we unmasked the killer of Ravindra Matre.
In 5G, we have to stand with the world, and in 6G, we have to lead the world.
Winning a Grammy was an absolutely surreal experience.
Joe Biden is not going to be the Democratic presidential nominee.
I made my choice. Kamala Harris. She's experienced. She's tough. She's capable.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
I am the one saving democracy.
He has tapped in to the fear and anxiety about demographic change in the US.
This polarization in the United States. Some people are even suggesting that there could be a civil war.
You are this unable to solve your own domestic problems. You have no right to claim to be anybody else in the world. And we're moving into a multipolar world where the United States will not lead.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
All right, this is our third story on the South Indian. Look at that man, superstar Rajinikanth. He says, sorry, don't know anything. You know, the men I'm going to talk about, these are the big daddies of the South Indian film industry. The first two, Mohanlal and Mammootty, have ruled over Malayalam cinema, while the latter, the third one, is the superstar, the only superstar, Rajinikanth. But today, let's focus on what their reactions have been to the Hema Committee report. Mohanlal, who quit as head of Association of Malayalam Movie Actors, or Amma, said as follows, and I am reading it out to you. He said, we welcome the Hema Committee report. It was the right decision by the government to release that report. Amma cannot answer all the questions. These questions should be asked from everyone. This is a very hard-working industry. Many people are involved in it, but everyone cannot be blamed for this. Those responsible will be punished. Investigation is going on. Good. But the moot point is what he also said, and that being his denial of being part of any power group in the Malayalam film industry. Next was Mammootty, who took to Facebook and said as follows, the full version of the Justice Hema Committee report is before the court. Let the police investigate honestly. Let the court decide the punishments. There is no powerhouse in cinema. Cinema is not an arena where such things can exist. Seriously. But then, what about superstar Rajinikanth, darling of lakhs, who said what he said, and people say that really took the cake. While feigning complete ignorance, he said he was completely unaware of the Hema committee report. This when he was asked by a reporter on his return to Chennai after a shoot who sought Rajinikanth's opinion on setting up a panel similar to Kerala's Hema committee in Tamil Nadu. The actor then turned around and said, "What? I'm not aware of it. Sorry." If this is not hypocrisy, then what is? If the top-notch men don't accept that the discrimination does exist in film industry across India, then it is not only that it shows them up, but also dilutes the issue. Joining me is Brinda Adige, who is a woman, a very, very famous women's activist. I'm also waiting for Kasturi Shankar, who's activist and lawyer. Brinda, welcome to the show. Brinda, does it make you laugh or not? You have to unmute, ma.
Unmute.
Yeah, I can.
Sudha, I'm outraged. I don't feel like laughing. I'm outraged.
Sorry.
I'm angry. Can somebody of that stature, like Rajinikanth, feign ignorance? We know ignorance is bliss, but I'm sure this man is well informed of everything that's happening. He continuously talks about being somebody like a sannyas. So which means he's cut off from the rest of the world. But just now when I see him on your screen, he's not cut off from any part of the world. So which means he has full and complete knowledge of the Hema committee and probably a lot of other information also. To say that he is not aware, it is not only shirking responsibility, but probably also shows that he is so afraid his name might come up somewhere.
You know something?
Somebody else's names might come up somewhere. If people who have the power and the money and the influence and who are connected to each other will come up. And so easy to say, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the men's club, Brinda Adige. I mean, I read out the statements by Mohanlal, Mammootty. What are they saying ultimately? They say very bad law, etc. Last they say, but we are not a powerhouse. Where is the powerhouse in our industry? There is no powerhouse. So it's a men's club. The man on your screen, superstar Rajinikanth, is also part of this. Father of 2 daughters. Let him walk the talk. Even in 2018, Brinda Adige, when this whole Me Too movement was spoken about, this man on the screen, whom we all love because of the actor that he is, said, oh, Me Too. Yeah, but proper investigation should be done. It is not so bad. It's there, but let's investigate. He also spoke about Vairamuthu, of course, you know, and not that he said anything disparaging about Vairamuthu, but he kept his kind of balance. You know about the Chinmay Sripada issue, the singer who said Vairamuthu had allegedly sexually harassed her. She's been banned. She's sitting there, she's banned. Look at all these men. This is what I mean. And today when I called people, they said, no, what are you saying, Sudha? How can I talk against the superstar? The scare, the fear. So, Brinda Adige, what the Hema committee report said is fear. They say if these women, dubbing artists, makeup artists, you know, whoever, extras, dancers, if they speak against anybody, that's it. Their careers are over. Exactly what Rajinikanth is proving. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He is scared that he may not have another foothold in the industry if he speaks anything against the so-called male club. And this male club transcends all languages, transcends all states. It is there across India and probably across the world. But at least here, the Hema committee is a progressive step forward, a trailblazer. The least he could have done is to say, yes, I think our female actors probably went through a lot of trauma and torture and heartache and humiliation. And I do hope that they get justice. Some kind of a band-aid. I'm sure that would not have been difficult at all. But like you mentioned, Sudha, the fear that he might be sidelined and excluded.
Exactly.
His fans may not agree to it. But over time, the industry is quite powerful to do this to anybody. And the easiest prey for all of these are women.
Absolutely. Kasturi Shankar, actress and activist and lawyer, has also joined us. But on the phone line, we are having some problem with her connection. Kasturi Shankar, welcome. Did it make you laugh or are you in shock? It made me laugh, actually. It made Brinda Adige, she was in shock. Rajinikanth saying, Hema committee report, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about it. Great actor, isn't he, Kasturi Shankar?
I'm just sad. It's not. I'm not laughing. I'm not shocked. I'm sad. It's the very, very unfortunate statement from Mr. Rajinikanth. I wish he had. I mean, I understand if an upcoming actor is worried about saying something and therefore keeps the peace. But what is Rajinikanth afraid of? Who is Rajinikanth afraid of? He's the kingpin. He can actually take a stand. Anything, one step from Rajinikanth would be a huge leap for gender equality in South Indian cinema, not just Tamil cinema. He is well respected in Telugu, Kannada. He's a pan-Indian legend. One word from him would have gone so far, and all he could say was, I don't know about it. No, of course he knows. I mean, no one's going to believe that he was completely under a rock for the last few days. No, it's so unfortunate. It's just so unfortunate.
So fine. So,
this was the man, Sudha, this was the man who just a few years ago, said he was going to clean up the system. He can't even clean up his own backyard. This is just so unfortunate.
I'm sorry, but Kasturi Shankar, you are one of the few who's agreed to speak out, because most of the people, the reaction was, you got to be kidding, Sudha. I mean, crazy. I'm not going to speak against the superstar, or else my career is just about over. But
we're not speaking against him.
Exactly.
This is a request to him.
Yeah.
Where am I speaking? Where is it to say that he should take a stance? It's not against Rajinikanth. It shows that we acknowledge his power and his popularity, and it's a fervent request.
Yeah,
he has 2 girl children who are both in the movie industry. Let them speak out.
Yeah. Kasturi, what do you think has made him, kind of deflect the entire issue, for lack of any other word? Because if you see there in the neighborhood, both Mohanlal and Mammootty have said there is no powerhouse, men are not dominating. And here in Tamil Nadu, he says, I haven't even heard of it. Is it to kind of make it disappear, obliterate it, as it were, completely?
No, it's actually worse than that. I'm not going to... what they said in Kerala is a complete denial of the problem. That's one thing. But to completely deny women totally, to say, I don't know about it all, to me, it sounds like it's not worth talking about. And that's why it's so unfortunate. He does not think... Either he thinks it's too hard to handle and he doesn't want to get into controversy, and I don't see why not, because he is the biggest name in the industry. He cannot get into trouble. He's immune from trouble. It's Rajinikanth, for God's sake. If he says something, everybody will have to follow suit and fall in line. They will have to say, oh my God, Rajini sir said this, therefore we need to clean up our act. How could he have asked for political leadership when he cannot even speak up for something? That is so... It's not a gossip, it's a report. It's a government report. It's the government of Kerala report. So there is nothing wrong in speaking about it. Who is he afraid of? Is he afraid of hurting the sentiments of some friends of his or some government? What is it? Why should he not... I'm trying to understand that, Sudha.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand why
that
a
flummoxes
superpower
me.
like Rajinikanth has to say... I understand when you say women don't want to talk about it. I understand that. Because if women talk about it, their careers go for a toss, their relationships go... At least they think that their relationships will be ruptured. I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think people's relationships are going to be ruptured because they stood up for the truth. But even so, how can you not stand up for the truth?
All right. Brinda Adige...
I mean, I don't care. Career, go to hell. We have to stand up for women, for our own children, for the future. We cannot be a coward.
Yeah, but I don't think people think like that, Kasturi Shankar, because you're a lawyer turned actor turned television star turned someone who understands politics well. I'm sorry, but everyone doesn't have, you're not multifaceted like you are. Brinda Adige, I want to ask you, like, Kasturi, who's also very well known as an actor in Tamil cinema. I don't know if her television show is really superb, which talks about women's issues. I want to ask you that she raised the question, for God's sake, if Rajinikanth had spoken one word, they would have genuflected, they would have fallen at his feet, for having said. And do you think there is something deeper behind this, Brinda Adige, than what we can see?
I absolutely believe that there is something deeper. Here we know that Rajinikanth doesn't hold any post and position, but by himself he's a superstar. And like Ms. Kasturi said, this man's one sentence would have got people at least working to do something and realizing that this is a serious issue, that everybody must have some say in it to make the place and the situation better. But look at Mohanlal. He was the president. Now, as an office bearer of Amma, he could have done so many things. That's what the entire Amma got set up for, to see that, there's no exploitation and that the Malayalam film industry has certain facilities and resources for everybody over there. So if that man did not stand up and say anything and makes these kind of statements, investigations are on, it is not all the time that these things are happening, somewhere something is happening. What are they trying to say? Push it under the carpet? When they make these kind of statements? Why did you not investigate? You've been sitting there for years. Exactly. You would have come, people may not have made a complaint to you, but at least there could have been some hearsay, somebody whispered in your ears, and you could have also done your own investigation privately and found out, if not to pinpoint on a particular person, at least general warnings, at least call that person and say, don't do this again because it's come to my notice and I will take action.
Okay.
Nothing.
Kasturi Shankar, so far I have not heard anyone except Vishal speak about how Nadigar Sangam, he is going to take action. There is going to be a committee which is being formed. But so-called top actors like Mr. Kamala Hassan, so far complete silence. Otherwise, he will go hammer and tongs about, oh, I'm a feminist, I've got 2 daughters, etc., etc. And let me take you back to 2018. This same man, superstar Rajinikanth, when he was asked about Me Too, he said, yeah, this should be investigated. What about Vairamuthu? He said, yeah, something. You're trying to brush not just dust under the carpet, but a whole lot of pumpkins under the carpet. So I think it is more about money, it is more about a men's club, it's more about the backroom boys who want to just be there and say, we are a club, we ain't going to support the girls here.
Yep. I think it's also a protectionist mentality. I can think of some names. Either who is he afraid of or who is he hiding? Who is he protecting? It's only one of the two. Or, okay, let us theoretically say that he was so engrossed in the shooting and nobody spoke to him about it and he did not watch TV and did not read the news and he was completely, in an island where there were no humans and that's where he concentrated on his film shoot. Okay, so he didn't know about it today. I would very much like to see Mr. Rajinikanth find out about it. See what's going on. His friends are all superstars. His friends are all famous actors. They would have told him. But even if they didn't, I expect his 2 daughters to tell him. So let him find out what happened. And I hope both, as you said, Mr. Kamal Hassan, who is vocal about all sorts of stuff. He used to be, though. He used to be until he joined the DMK alliance, and now he suddenly has lost his tongue. His cat got his tongue. But I hope both of them come out with at least a cursory statement tomorrow.
On that note, thank you very much, Kasturi Shankar and Brinda Adige, for joining us on this very, very important issue. Thank you indeed. And now, as promised, in the South Indian, I leave you with some of the other top headlines from the south of India. Thank you for watching. Vanakkam.
lived up to their pre-tournament billing, delivering a series of less than convincing performances. With 2 draws and a solitary win,
your son will be Messi. No studies, just football all day. Go, my son, go. Make my face shine through playing football.
Not only your face, but also the country's. I will conquer the world by playing football. Come, let's go to Germany!
World's largest football talent hunt, News 9 Indian Tigers and Tigresses. In association with DFB Pokal, Bundesliga, BVB and India Football Center. Train and play matches in Europe. Register now and fly to Germany. IndianTigersandTigresses.com.
How do you fulfill that promise? Because ultimately expectations have to be met. If you look at the political landscape, is it really changing for women? And what is the inability of the forces that dead bodies surface but not the living people?
Delhi is enjoying the cleanest August air in several years. On 9th August, Delhi recorded its cleanest air quality between January and August since 2018. AQI has been satisfactory or moderate for 28 consecutive days. And it's all thanks to the rain, which has reduced pollutants in the air. But how long will this clean air spell last? Burning of leftover wheat and paddy straw in farms will begin after monsoon, as early as October. Will stubble burning choke Delhi again? News 9 Plus decodes. Come winter and Delhi turns into a noxious gas chamber with dense smog. Stubble burning is among the biggest reasons for the annual air crisis. The Supreme Court has also acknowledged the looming threat. It asked the Commission for Air Quality Management about its plans to tackle stubble burning and air pollution in Delhi NCR. The court also noted the staff shortage in Delhi NCR's pollution control boards, which makes them ineffective. At least 50% of posts in pollution control boards of Delhi, Punjab and Haryana are vacant. What's the plan to tackle stubble burning? Every winter, stubble burning in Punjab and Haryana is blamed as the biggest contributor to the rising air pollution in Delhi. In winter 2023, there were over 36,000 farm fires. The Supreme Court had asked the states to put an immediate stop to stubble burning. This year, Punjab alone is expected to produce about 20 million metric tons of farm residue. The state government is banking on crop residue management or CRM practices to avoid stubble burning. 22,000 subsidized CRM machines will be distributed to farmers. This will cost the state 500 crore rupees. The government will also offer 200 crore rupees subsidy for management of paddy straw. In Haryana too, the shift towards selling paddy fodder and the use of CRM machines are expected to help reduce stubble burning incidents. There's also the Haryana Clean Air Project for Sustainable Development, a 10,000 crore rupees project with investment from the World Bank. Why do farmers burn stubble? One reason could be the use of combines. For those not clued in, combines are machines that harvest, thresh and clean grain all at once, but they often don't cut close enough to the ground, leaving behind stubble that farmers don't use. Using combines to harvest paddy leaves behind stubble that is labor intensive to remove. Stubble burning is a convenient method then. Also, farmers get only a short 2 to 3 week window to harvest and sow for the next crop. So, they resort to stubble burning as a quick way to get rid of the paddy straw. Hopefully, with government incentives to promote on crop residue management practices and penalties in place, the contribution of stubble burning to Delhi's air pollution will be lower this year.
One of my friends was residing here. Every rainy season, he will take his mom or otherwise even the dog also, pet dog also, he will take the pet dog and go to the resort, which is at Banasura Sagar Dam. This time around, he didn't. So, completely washed out. There is no idea about my friend. हमारा फैमिली में रिलेटेड फैमिली था और उसके रिलेशन में तकरीबन 20 लोग मरा हुआ। अभी हमको पता नहीं सलाह भी मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा। अभी 5 दिन हो गया।
Streaming on News 9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Malayalam movie Aadujeevitham, The Goat Life, has been making headlines ever since its release in March. The movie swept the Kerala State Film Awards this year. Now it has become a fodder for memes. Why has the film Aadujeevitham, The Goat Life sparked controversy? News 9 Plus decodes. The success of films these days isn't limited just to box office earnings or critical acclaim alone. Aadujeevitham, for instance, has gained in popularity ever since its release, not just for its cinematic quality, but for its controversy that it has generated. It's a tale of a daily wage worker in Kerala who migrates to Saudi Arabia in search of greener pastures, but ends up in a slave-like conditions at a goat farm in a desert. The film, based on a book written by author Benyamin, first sparked controversy soon after its release. The audience from Saudi Arabia in particular claimed that its citizens had been portrayed negatively. It is a story of Gulf dream of Indian workers turning into a nightmare. Director Blessy called out attempts to create social unrest through the movie. He defended the movie, saying it portrays the nobleness of humans. Social media was abuzz that Saudi authorities banned Omani actor Taleb al-Balushi, who essays the role of a harsh employer who keeps an Indian migrant captive in inhuman conditions and tortures him from entering the country. But the actor has denied these rumors. Also, Jordanian actor Akif Najim, who plays a wealthy Arab who helps the protagonist, has expressed his regret for his involvement in the film. Why has Akif Najim apologized for essaying the Arab's role? Well, the Jordanian actor took to his social media and asked the audience for forgiveness. He regretted taking up the role that showed people from Saudi Arabia in a negative light. He admitted to not reading the entire script and taking up the role without much thought. The actor said that he will always consider people from Saudi Arabia like his family. Which awards has the film won? The film, with the background score by A.R. Rahman, emerged victorious at the Kerala State Film Awards 2023. The film's director, Blessy, won the awards for the Best Direction and Screenplay. Lead actor Prithvi Raj, who played the protagonist, won the Best Actor award. Actor K.R. Gokul also received a special jury mention for his performance. The film also won awards for sound mixing, colorist, makeup artist. It was also declared the best Malayalam film with aesthetic quality and popular appeal.
Who am I?
Nobody can crack that mystery.
There is a certain expectation of me.
That's the only contradiction.
Life itself is stranger than fiction.
I was a perfectly normal person born in an abnormal world.
I really didn't understand why is it different.
Just imagine a child who is bullied every day.
Boys school में कुछ लड़का लोग मेरे साथ sexual abuse किए.
मुझे तेरे बारे में सब पता है और मैं तेरा rape कर लूँगा.
You also start to stigmatize.
अरे ये तो time pass है.
Sex doesn't come in the picture. Sex comes later.
Then there are man-made narratives.
Why do you walk like that? Why do you sway so much? So you can understand the trauma of a person who's trapped in a wrong body.
But nothing can bind life.
We have to reclaim the lost position. We fought for more than 10 years. Today I'm the mother of the industry. I'm a first transgender member judge.
You can't walk in everybody's shoes.
This is what I'm comfortable with. They just are what they are.
You become the light yourself.
That is the change that I was looking for. When I recognize myself, it's a small story, but it's an interesting one.
जानना है तो देखिए, समझना है तो सुनिए, सीखना है तो पूछिए, और कमाना है तो खरीदिए। जानकारी, सलाह और निवेश सब एक ही सुपर ऐप पर। पैसे का सवाल है तो जवाब है मनी 9। आजादी पैसे की, अभी डाउनलोड करें।
Why is the state not looking at putting an embargo on that?
As a Telangana person, I will not accept.
How do ordinary folks deal with this?
Good evening. You're watching In Your Interest. I'm Shweta Kothari. The central government recently approved the Unified Pension Scheme, or UPS. Under UPS, the government guarantees pension to government employees in which, after working for 25 years, 50% of the basic salary will be given as pension. The pension amount will be 50% of the average basic salary drawn in the last 12 months prior to retirement. Now, at the same time, employees who have worked for at least 10 years will also be entitled to a monthly pension of 10,000 rupees. After the death of the pensioner, employees 60% of his or her pension will be given to the family members. The scheme will benefit about 23 lakh employees of the central government, and if the state government employees are to be also included, then there will be about 90 lakh beneficiaries of UPS. But what about private sector employees? There are about 5 crore people employed by private companies in the country, in India in particular. What are their options? How can they get a minimum guaranteed pension? And is there a case for UPS to be extended to private players? We're discussing all of that. Joining us on the show is Renu Maheshwari, co-founder FinScholars Wealth Managers. With me is my colleague Krishna Kumar. Before I go to Renu, Krishna, this is an important conversation. You and I are private employees, so I think all of us tomorrow want to be assured of what really happens to us. We don't have any guarantee of any pension. Whatever we contribute comes by the way of either a PF contribution or an NPS contribution, which is voluntary on our part.
Right.
So what happens to our job security and safety after our retirements?
Well, that's the big question for this entire, last 2-3 generations of working people, especially with the moving away of government jobs, the preference or the obsession with government jobs, which used to exist about 4 decades ago, 5 decades ago, to now literally overwhelming majority of the jobs in the country belong to the private sector. And this is a question that affects the overwhelming majority of the workforce here in India. And it's interesting that we are discussing the UPS as a possible, solution to all our, post-retirement financial fears. And we're having the conversation simply because of the fact that, overall, it has been largely agreed upon that the UPS is an improvement on the NPS.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily disrupt the NPS, but it just improves upon it. The indexation benefit and the fact that they give out these lump sum payments, all of these are extremely attractive features for all of us trying to look for a good financial instrument to put our money in. I mean, we have our doubts on, should I take that lump sum money, put it in a mutual fund? Do I put it in a fixed deposit because they are back in fashion, or do I put it in gold? For the long run, for our nest egg, so to speak. So the UPS, the fact that it's calling out to the private sector itself is extremely interesting, Shweta.
All right, Krishna, thank you very much for setting the ball rolling as far as our conversation on whether UPS should be extended to private players or not. But Renu Maheshwari also joining us on the show. Renu, good to have you back. The last time you and I were discussing, we were in fact talking about how the government seemed to have moved away from fixed pension to fixed contribution, while the UPS is it's more comprehensive. Come to think of it, it has the benefits of the UPS. NPS and has the benefits of the OPS when it comes to fixed pension. But there is also now it stands to believe that states may not adopt it. Is there any clarity that you have right now whether states are going to adopt it? So are we looking at therefore a bigger number of people who would come by the way of beneficiaries from 23 lakh to 90 lakh employees?
What I have read, I do not have any other information except that Maharashtra state is the only one which has adopted it as yet. I personally don't have any information whether they will do it or not. See, all those government decisions are decided so much by, not purely by objective financials, but by so many other factors beyond my pay grade. So I'm not going to do a double guess on that who is going to do it and who is not going to do it.
In which case, we know that there is, of course, a political division, of course, when it comes to pension on whether a state is ruled by the BJP or not ruled by the BJP right now. I want to directly jump into the conversation that we're having, and that is, what about private players? Now, I've been doing my reading, and I'm sure a lot of other people who are either going to retire at some point in time or haven't really got a government job at all also wonder, what about our job safety? What about our security, especially after we have retired? What are the current existing schemes that private employees have that they can, go for apart from EPS and I believe some contribution to the tune of about 14%, which is tax-free, allowed under NPS? Is there an option for government employees to obviously have UPS, but is there an option for private players to also perhaps have NPS and any other scheme that is available to them? Can UPS be extended to them?
See, UPS getting extended to private sector, I have my doubts on it. The UPS is being subsidized by the government, right? So they are contributing 18.5%. If the private sector starts doing it, so it'll still be part of your CTC. So that means 28.5% of your salary is going for your retirement benefits. Then your take home goes down. Would the private sector be able to attract employees with that kind of a take home? That's a question mark. A lot of private players subscribe to the minimal EPF and not even the statutory EPF. So I think that is a big question mark. If we come to the question of how the private sector can ensure a secure retirement, the good news is that the market is growing. As per my calculations, NPS will still make better money than UPS, and your retirement might be better off in NPS provided you do a right asset allocation. So asset allocation becomes the most important thing, even in retirement, in the statutory retirement benefits. What should the private sector employees do? Start saving for your retirement the day you start earning for it. Right from day one. So you fill up your EPF, your employees provident fund. If your company offers NPS, grab it, take it, don't leave that and thinking that, and don't keep comparing its performance with mutual funds. That's a wrong comparison. NPS with a good asset allocation will make much, much more than any other retirement scheme. Make sure you invest in equity for a long term. And that the only way to be able to secure your retirement, I'm reiterating these numbers which I've been talking about for a while now. You're going to be working for 25 years, maximum 30 years, and you have to live off that money for next 30 years.
Okay.
With inflation.
All right. And so let's say a company does not really offer provision for NPS. Then what are the chances, apart from EPF, that a private person like me, who is in a private job, should go for? What can we do to secure our future?
Yeah, so even if your company doesn't give you NPS, open your own NPS account. And start contributing to that, and that will come under your ATC benefit, just like your any other EPF and any other investment. Even if your EPF and other things are taking care of your 1.5 lakh of ATC, whatever you invest in NPS, it's still coming to you tax-free. Okay. Only 40% of that money goes into annuity, 60% of the corpus is still tax-free, and it still makes sense. So if you're in private sector, use NPS. Even if your company is not giving it, you can make additional investment in that, and for a smaller amount, 50,000 still gives you additional tax benefit under section 80 CCDB 1B. So take care of, take advantage of that and invest regularly in equity. Don't
All
want
right.
to make it complicated. Just put it in index fund and it will give you better retirement. But maintaining discipline is the most important thing. What is happening with all of these retirement schemes is being a statutory fund, it just gets deducted from your salary and you never consider it part of your income. And then your expenses and everything is all planned around that. And that gives you a good corpus when you retire.
All right.
And of course, there are tax benefits.
I have a lot of questions from you. I only have a couple of minutes, Renu. You said something very interesting. You said that if UPS were to be extended to private employees, their take-home salary will decrease and they may not like it very much because, when it comes to financial planning and when it comes to savings for future and your current income is decreased, you don't find any value in it, at least in the interim. You may find value in it once you retire. But my question is it going to be also therefore a big burden on the government exchequer? Because right now with 23 lakh employees, government will have to shell out about 6,500 crore rupees, and if this were to be extended to 5 crore employees, that bill will multiply into thousands of crores. Is that even possible? Can India ever look at a UPS-like scheme to be extended to private employees?
If ever it is extended to private employees, it will have to be funded by the private sector. It cannot be funded by the government. See, if you look at it in the past, there were few companies who were giving defined benefits to their employees at retirement. Not happening anymore in any of the corporate bodies. Can the government do it? I doubt. They cannot afford to do it, is my answer to it. If it has to be extended, it has to be extended by the private sector.
All right. Interestingly, Krishna, of course, if it has to be extended, the burden will have to be borne by the private sector. That's the last word coming in as far as what are the options for private employees like you and me as far as our safety of our future is concerned. Renu Maheshwari, thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us, for all your inputs on that story.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
And with that, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back in just a bit.
Not quite lived up to their pre-tournament billing, delivering a series of less than convincing performances. For 2 draws and a solitary win.
Your son will be Messi. No studies, just football all day. Go, my son, go. Make my face shine through playing football.
Not only your face, but also the country's. I will conquer the world by playing football. Come, let's go to Germany!
World's largest football talent hunt, News 9 Indian Tigers and Tigresses. In association with DFB Pokal, Bundesliga, BVB and India Football Center. Train and play matches in Europe. Register now and fly to Germany. IndianTigersandTigresses.com.
This is News 9 Live, India's only digital exclusive live stream. For the early adopters, bringing you the news 24/7. For the smart audiences on the smartest TVs. News 9 Live. Stream now on your smart TVs.
It's said that out of 7 diamonds across the world, 5 are cut and polished in India.
Don't forget, US is the largest consumer of, polished diamonds and the diamond jewelry. And that has taken a big beating for multiple reasons, but largely because of the consumer spending going down on these items. And that's essentially what has hit the diamond industry.
We are at a brim where you see not just one, but multiple very strong global brands coming out of India. And we will make a global mark, and I'm convinced about that.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Welcome back. You're watching In Your Interest. I'm Shweta Kothari. Vistara is all set to end services in November as the merger with Air India has got the final nod. Vistara will be merged with Air India on 12th of November. The airline has operated, remember, over 5 lakh flights from its inception up until July. It will add another 30,000 flights by the time it retires in November this year. Now, Vistara's merger into Air India is a strategic consolidation within the Tata Group's aviation portfolio. Vistara, originally established as a joint venture between the Tata Group and the Singapore Airlines, will now be integrated with Air India, another Tata-owned carrier. Starting 3rd of September 2024, which is tomorrow, customers will progressively no longer be able to make bookings with Vistara for travel on or after 12th of November 2024. All Vistara aircraft thereafter will be operated by Air India and bookings will be redirected to Air India's website. Until 11th of November 2024, Vistara will maintain its normal operations. Passengers can continue to book and fly with Vistara as usual during this period. But what happens to the brand Vistara thereafter? That's a big question we're asking. Joining us on the show will be Lloyd Matthias. With me is Krishna Kumar. Krishna, a lot of Vistara brand lovers would be really waiting to know what really happens to their favorite airline. And you know, come to think of it, very few limited options right now for those who are looking for an airline that does not fail them, is on time, and the services are great, Vistara being one of them. What really happens to Vistara?
What really happens right now is the term premium economy that's under threat. So you have Air India Express, which is like the more economy version of Air India. You know, if it is possible, then
no frills, low cost.
Yeah. Yeah, ultra low frills, ultra low cost, if I may, is Air India Express. And then if they can have an Air India that's premium economy Air India, then they should ideally. But right now, lots of fears floating around because that's what people grew it to love about Vistara. It was a budget airline at the end of the day. They're not exactly the most expensive tickets around. But then for a little bit of premium experience over there, the fact that you have an option called premium economy apart from business class, which are obnoxiously priced, you know, the fear is that, you know, why are we letting go of that? Why isn't Air India? Absolutely. Because right now all we know is that we can't book Vistara flights anymore. So that is not happening. The brand Vistara might go away, but that premium economy experience, if Air India chooses to create a segmentation in its completely consolidated empire of airlines that it has right now, if it chooses to have that, then there will be definitely a lot of offtake. A lot of people would be enjoying and wanting to book Air India flights for that.
Absolutely. Let's quickly get in our guest, Lloyd Matthias, who's an angel investor and brand strategist. Lloyd, you know, I think I'm going to take that question once again to you. What really happens to brand Vistara? A lot of us who've grown to love this brand since its inception for its premium quality, are we looking at, therefore, a dissemination of premium economy, or are we looking at two brands, maybe the brand name notwithstanding, but two offerings by Air India, one being low cost, low frill, but the other being, of course, what Vistara used to offer, which is some sort of premiumness?
Thanks, Shweta. I think, you know, what's unfortunately happened is with the Air India acquisition, clearly the Vistara brand has got submerged or subsumed. I would assume that Air India would possibly use brand Vistara in some format to connote their premium service. If a lot of us flyers remember, ever since Kingfisher and then for Jet disappeared, India never really had a premium offering. Right? Air India has been there, but Indigo has been an all-economy, low-cost career. Though, of course, they have plans to kind of look at a more kind of semi-premium segment. I think the equity that Vistara built in its 8 odd years, I think is something that Air India still has an opportunity to encash on. Now, whether they call some of their business class services, some of their lounges, they kind of retain some part of that equity is how they would use. But I don't think that there is a certain brand regard that Vistara has rightfully earned as a specialized premium service in Indian aviation, which frankly no one owned in this last 1 decade. And I therefore hope fervently that Air India would use brand Vistara in some of their offering, if nothing else, to at least serve as a differentiator. While Air India is still the mother brand and the airline name, I think creating a separate offering within the Vistara umbrella would possibly help, and something that they should seriously consider.
Okay, so are we looking at Vistara as a name, the color palette, everything going away? I mean, I know starting, November this year, we will not be able to book Vistara flight from a Vistara website and we'll have to be redirected to Air India website. But are we looking at a complete dissemination of Vistara, the name, Vistara, the brand? And if that's the case, what really happens to loyal customers?
I think what's very clear with the announcement is that Vistara as an entity disappears. So there's no corporation Vistara, there's no loyalty program. Everything gets subsumed in Air India. What I'm hoping for is that considering the brand still has sizable residual equity, if Vistara can remain a brand subsumed within Air India, there are a lot of their premium services, be it business class, be it premium lounges, be it some of the special features they offer. If they rename their platinum frequent flyer program or Vistara, that might still kind of help keep that memory alive. And since it already has a natural amount of premiumness, it kind of helps, create a kind of brand segmentation, which is not uncommon for large corporations to have various offerings. Let's look at the country's largest consumer goods brand, Hindustan Unilever. I mean, they have super premium categories, Pear, Scout, and then they have mass categories like Lifebuoy and so on and so forth. I think segregation within a mother brand is a very valid strategy.
Right.
And I do believe that while Vistara per se disappears as a corporation entity, I think using the residual effect of the brand is something that could be seriously considered.
Okay, and let's quickly run our viewers through some of the permutations, combinations when it comes to that segregation. As Krishna was pointing out, it does look like Air India Express could be that no-frills, low-cost airline that continues to operate domestically. Perhaps Air India as a brand with its wide-body aircraft could continue to operate internationally. And in comes Vistara, which is in the sweet spot, just in between premium offering and serving domestic passengers. Does that look like the right sort of strategy for you? Or is there other ways of looking at it? What are the permutation combinations that can work here?
Was that for Krishna Ashwata?
Yes, Lloyd?
That's for you, Lloyd.
I thought that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I would think, like I said, Air India Express still remains the mass offering. Air India is obviously the mother brand and spans the entire spectrum. I was thinking of Vistara being like a niche offering for the premium end of the aviation market. So a lot of specialized services within the Air India umbrella would be with Vistara, where the premiumness is the key call-out, where you're talking to, let's say, a slightly more reward customer who's expecting individualized and world-class service. I think that's where Vistara could go.
All right. So as we were saying, that is exactly where Vistara may fit in. But Lloyd, before I let you go, I know you touched on the loyalty program, and we know that Air India and Vistara both have their own set loyalty programs. So what happens to those loyalty programs? Are we looking at them combining as well?
Yes, Shweta. In fact, a couple of months back, Vistara announced that you have an opportunity to link your Vistara account with Air India's frequent flyer programs, and therefore all your points can get freely transferred. You could use the points across. I suspect this really means that effectively soon frequent flyer Air India's flying returns will be the mother program, and all the Vistara points will straight away get into the Air India frequent flyer. I don't think the Vistara loyalty program and such will exist beyond November 12th.
Okay, so you'll have the Club Vistara and perhaps Air India's loyalty program, which is the flying returns program, coexisting, or you could have the Air India's flying return program, which will combine Club Vistara. Perhaps those are, of course, all guesses right now, and there's just this good few months to go before that merger comes through. But starting tomorrow up until November, 3rd of November to be particular, is when you'll be able to fly Vistara, post which you will be flying Air India, come what may. Lloyd Matthias, thank you very much for taking time out. Thank you for joining us on this show. As I was saying, it does look like brand Vistara may not continue post 11th of November. Until 11th of November, Vistara will maintain its normal operations. Passengers can continue to book and fly with Vistara as usual during the transition period. But starting tomorrow, each passenger will only be able to book a flight up until 12th of November, and after 12th of November, all Vistara aircraft and flights will have to be booked through Air India, and that looks like an end of an era as far as Vistara is concerned. And with that, we have run out of time on this show. Thank you very much for watching.
pass. We'll put new glasses in the windows and they keep breaking it. This is the fourth time you are playing football throughout the day. Will you win the world by playing football?
Yes, uncle. I will now conquer the world by playing football. Let's go to Germany.
World's largest football talent hunt, News 9 Indian Tigers and Tigresses. In association with DFB Pokal, Bundesliga, BVB and India Football Center. Train and play matches in Europe. Register now and fly to Germany. IndianTigersandTigresses.com.
This was the kind of terrain that mountaineers basically climb on. You're talking of peaks of 15,000 and 16,000 feet. You have trouble breathing, the cold, the high altitude, the dizziness, the enemy staring at your face. And in some of those cases, the Pakistanis were not even expending ammunition. They were throwing rocks at the Indian soldiers. That's how close it was.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
The average lifespan of Indians is reducing. You and I are losing at least 3 years of our life just by breathing in polluted air. This is an observation made in the Air Quality Life Index report. So how is pollution reducing life expectancy of Indians? News 9 Plus decodes. The Air Quality Life Index report is published by University of Chicago's Energy Policy Institute. It analyzes how air pollution affects human life expectancy. The latest report has found that Indians may lose about 3.6 years of their life if India does not meet the World Health Organization's annual PM 2.5 standard. The WHO standard is 5 micrograms per cubic meter. In 2022, the particulate concentration in India was around 9 micrograms per cubic meter. More than 40% of India's population breathes in over-polluted air. But it is not all bad news. The report noted that particulate pollution in India in 2022 reduced by 19.3% as compared to 2021. This is the second highest reduction in the world after Bangladesh. Which regions in India saw major improvement? Purulia and Bankura districts of West Bengal, various districts of Jharkhand including Dhanbad, Bokaro, Paschim Singhbhum and Paschim Medinipur. A drop of over 20 micrograms per cubic meter was observed in these regions. Even the northern plains, which is India's most polluted region, saw a 17.2% decline in particulate levels. What were the reasons for this improvement? First, the National Clean Air Program that was launched in 2019. It is the first national effort that sets clean air targets for particulate reduction. NCAP covers 131 non-attainment cities which failed to meet the prescribed air quality standards before 2011 and 2015. According to the AQLI report, pollution in these cities has reduced by 18.8%. Another innovative policy was adopted by Gujarat. The state launched the world's first particulate pollution market, which incentivizes cleaner practices. The emission trading scheme aims to reduce air pollution by allowing industries to buy and sell permits for emitting particulate matter. This led to a 20 to 30% decline in particulate levels in Surat. The Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana and decrease in use of diesel in the transport segment also helped improve the particulate pollution levels.
This is News 9 Live, India's only digital exclusive live stream. For the early adopters, bringing you the news 24/7. For the smart audiences on the smartest TVs. News 9 Live. Stream now on your smart TVs.
In the heart of New York, an Indian spectacle unfolds. Step into the world of the elite saga. Featuring influential Indians who've rocked the globe. From culinary geniuses,
this has been nothing less than a dream,
to the wisdom of sages.
And which is why success can never be spelt without you.
Discover the stories behind the stars. Experience the magic behind the scenes at the first Indian event at the Statue of Liberty. Watch the Elite Saga streaming only on News 9 Plus. Download now.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Game On. I'm your host Neha Bharadwaj, and it's time to forget your Monday blues because the color to remember is gold. India has its second gold medal at the Paralympic Games in Paris. Yes, it's Nitish Kumar who defeated Daniel Bethel of Great Britain in the gold medal match. In the final of the men's singles SL3 event, he prevailed 21-14, 18-21, 23-21. Nitish had a 0-9 head-to-head record against Daniel Bethel of Great Britain going into this gold medal match, but it was his moment of glory today. With this gold, Nitish has followed Pramod Bhagat's footsteps, who had in fact won the gold in Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Nitish led the final after claiming the first game 21-14, but the British shuttler came back to level the match with a 21-18 score. Both players were 18 all. Bethel rattled off 3 points at the end to win the second game with a smash to snatch the momentum from the Indian. The third game saw Nitish fought back. He was fighting back. He stuck to his plan, but the disappointment of losing the second game, that did not impact him. He held his nerves and he sealed the game 23-21 to win India's second gold in Paralympic Games in 2024. 1 hour and 20 minutes of one of the most thrilling finals in Paralympics badminton. It took him 10 attempts, but Nitish Kumar beat his British opponent when it mattered the most, on the biggest stage of all. This is his first major international gold. It was a nerve-wracking final where the momentum shifted from one player to another. The longest rally was 122 shots in the first game. Now, Nitish, let's talk about his story. He lost his left leg in a train accident in Visakhapatnam in 2009, which left him completely bedridden for months. However, he dedicated his time to preparing for the Indian Institute of Technology entrance examinations, and he even took a year off. He joined IIT Mandi in 2013, and during his time at the institution, he developed an interest in badminton. His career in para badminton started in 2016 after he participated in the para national championships as part of the Haryana team. He won his first international title at the Irish Para Badminton International in 2017. He's also won multiple titles that includes wins at BWF Para Badminton World Circuit and the Asian Para Games. Before that, on Sunday, high jumper Nishad Kumar of T47 category clinched his second successive silver at the Paralympic Games with a season's best effort of 2.04 meters in Paris. Nishad had also won a silver in Tokyo Paralympics 3 years ago. He jumped 2.06 then in Tokyo. T47 is meant for competitors with a below elbow or wrist amputation or impairment. Nishad's silver was India's third medal from para athletics and seventh for the country overall in Paris Paralympics. Preeti Pal, she created history as she became the first Indian woman in track and field, to win 2 medals at the Paralympics, while clinching the bronze medal in the 200-meter T35 category with a personal best time of 30.01 seconds. The 23-year-old also became only the second Indian woman to win 2 medals, which are both bronze in a single Paralympics after shooter Avni Lekra, who won a gold and a bronze in Tokyo 3 years ago. Let's move on to cricket. Yuvraj Singh's father, Yograj Singh, has slammed MS Dhoni and blamed him for destroying his son's cricket career and has asked the Indian government to award Yuvraj Singh with Bharat Ratna since he's helped India win the ODI World Cup while battling cancer. In an interview with the Z Switch's YouTube channel, Yograj said, and I quote, "I won't forgive MS Dhoni. He should look at his face in the mirror. He's a very big cricketer, but what he has done against my son, everything is coming out now. It can never be forgiven in life. I have never done two things in life. First, I've never forgiven anybody who's done wrong for me. And second, I have never hugged them in my life, be it my family members or my kids." Yuvraj says after cancer, Yuvraj could have easily played for 4 or 5 years if not for MS Dhoni. He added, "That man has destroyed the life of my son, who could have played 4 to 5 years more. I dare everyone to give birth to a son like Yuvraj." Even Gautam Gambhir and Virendra Sehwag have said in the past that there won't be another Yuvraj Singh. India should award him the Bharat Ratna for playing with cancer and winning the World Cup for the country. Former South African cricketer and Lucknow Super Giants fielding coach Jonty Rhodes was in India for an event where he spoke about a variety of issues. Here is an excerpt from that event. Jonty was asked about his brilliant fielding skills and his electrifying energy on the field. What is his message to young cricketers and what are some of the tips to excel as a fielder? This is what he said.
Yes, it's not too difficult, believe it or not, because if you're going to be a fielder, yes, you must be able to move a little bit. Very important, because I can teach somebody to catch the ball, but I can't teach them to get to the ball. That's got to be up to the individual player. But the one key element, the one success that I had was that I loved my fielding. I wanted that ball to come to me, because the commentators would say, "Wow, that Jonty Rhodes, he's got great reflexes and good reactions." But me, I didn't read it, because if I had better and sharper reactions or reflexes, I would have been a much better batter. But I loved my fielding. So I wanted every single ball to come to me. So before the ball was hit, I was expecting it. And that's all we want now. Whatever level you are playing, if you're a fielder, there's only 120 balls coming. If you can expect every ball to come to you, then you'll be able to react as the ball is struck and not afterwards. And that is the key for anybody to be a good fielder. Expect the ball to come to you every single ball. Very simple. Yes, I think budding cricketers of any age, and whether they are putting their effort on the cricket field, whether they're putting their effort in the corporate environment, there is no shortcut to success. So in the school, in the companies, in your cricket teams, there is no shortcut. It does require hard work. But if you are enjoying what you're doing, it never seems like hard work. Because if a journalist had to ask me as a cricket player, do I work hard at my fielding? I would say, no, I don't think so. I'm just out there. But my teammates, if the same journalist asks them, does Jonty work hard at his fielding? They'll say, for sure, this guy's crazy. We work hard and then he spends more time. But because I was enjoying my fielding, it never seemed like hard work. So I was able to follow my passion in the field and feel like that because I was loving every single minute. So I think that is the key. There is no shortcut. It does require hard work, whatever you are doing. But if you're loving that, it never seems like work. And then be like me as a brand ambassador. It's something that you're passionate about and something that you love.
Jonty Rhodes is undoubtedly the all-time best when it comes to fielding. In his opinion, though, who will top the charts for fielding among contemporary cricketers? This is what he said.
And I was always a really big fan of Suresh Raina, and during his playing days, and now that he's retired, because he would throw himself around the field. And Chetan sir spoke about how many grounds here? 200, and they are decent grounds, good outfields. Whereas in the past in India, the cricketing infrastructure wasn't there to support the passion and the level of the cricket that was here. So the young players, and I apologize to a lot of youngsters because they come talk about their sore elbows